Hello, welcome to an exciting announcement about AVIF at Imgix. Today I'm going to be giving a talk with Alfonso Acosta, the image engineering team leader and dog lover at Imgix. So thanks for joining me to do this video. I think the exciting thing about this is that you and your team are the actual people that really worked on making this. So it's really fun to talk to the people that really did the real work, right? You want to tell me a little bit about what you went through with AVIF, and I guess maybe even the most important question, why AVIF?
Sure. So let's start with why AVIF. AVIF is a new file format, and it's been garnering a lot of press. And part of the reason it's been getting a lot of press is because it's supported by all the big names, right? You have Apple, Microsoft, Google, Netflix, Mozilla. Basically anybody that's doing images is behind this format. The goal of the format was to make it a lighter format, and they used the AV1 codec for video and adapted that for images. And the bottom line is the images end up being about 25% smaller or lighter compared to WebP, which is the format that a lot of people were using today.
Yeah, when I started learning about AVIF, I thought it was this idea that, not many browsers supported it. I knew it was lighter, but, really starting to look at the numbers and looking at can I use, it's like already supporting like 67% of browsers, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that wide range of acceptance allows us to roll it out and get a big bang for the buck when we do that. But what do we do for the other 33% of browsers?
Yeah, I know, right?
Another question.
So the answer though is we serve whatever the best format is for that browser, right? It could be WebP, could be JPEG, maybe a PNG8. We have a lot of different algorithms to search through and decide what's the best format to serve. Even when you get down to like Internet Explorer, you're starting to look in, is this image transparent or not? And then making decisions down there, right? Which, goes back to the how AVIF, right? It's auto format. And that's the same thing everyone's already using. So literally, if you get AVIF turned on for your account, which all you have to do is just ask us and we'll turn it on, you use the same format you're already using, auto format. No coding changes, nothing changes on the end of the Imgix customer, right? Which is, I think, pretty amazing that you just all of a sudden get this bump of savings by doing nothing.
And that was something that we really worked hard to try and make that work. Our initial beta release, you had to actually add some parameters and specify AVIF. But once we got past that and we knew it was working for people, we really wanted it to be like a hands-off type of change. Like, you're already using this auto equals format parameter, and now automatically your images are 25% lighter.
So you mentioned other people have already started using it. So this is actually a screenshot from a tweet Unsplash sent. They did an early beta of it, and you can literally see this as they turned on AVIF in Chrome. It actually dropped the size by 31% of their images, or 31%, which was even better than we estimated here, which is pretty amazing. And it's not just image size. Like, other people have been testing it as well. I know like One Football did, and Madeline, an e-commerce site in UK, and they're all already saying you can see improvements to page speed scores, to lower input delays. It was just all around pretty great immediate improvements. So this is what's leading to us, leaving beta and opening it up more to everyone to be able to use AVIF. So I think another good thing to maybe just talk about would be fun to like learn, what did you do to make AVIF work? Like, what was the process for you going through the encoders? I'm pretty sure like early on there was some kind of encoder that wasn't that great, and there was a lot of work, I think, going on there with your end to make things better and make sure it was like a production ready image, right?
Sure. And so what we did there is obviously we have our process of being able to take whatever inputs files you guys give us, and then we encode them into the output formats that are requested. So what we had to do was insert another encoder into our process, the AVIF encoder that's available. And when we were doing this, some of the encoders weren't even version 1.0 yet. And so we've had this kind of functionality baked in for a little bit, for a few months now. But we were really waiting for that encoder to mature a little bit. And on one of the latest updates, they really were able to get the performance, a big performance improvement on it, where it made sense for us to now start rolling it out to our customers. So one thing we had to do was actually get the encoder in, then we had to evaluate it, make sure it was fast enough. And the final piece was we wanted to make sure that the quality matched quality to quality. So we have a tool where we run over all the gamuts of our quality for JPEGs and WebPs, and then we do the same thing for AVIFs, and we try and match the quality levels so that if you ask for a single quality from Imgix with our Q parameter, you'll get the same quality image no matter which format comes out. And so once we tweak that, then it was, let's get it out there for customers to use and play with and see what they like.
So I think this is also maybe important to mention is like, every rose has its thorn, right? Like there are pitfalls to the idea of using AVIF, and I think you've already alluded to that idea of the encoder. So AVIF does actually take longer to encode than a WebP, right? So there's an important idea of a trade-off there, that essentially the first time it's ever requested and processed by us, it'll take a little bit longer, and then but then every subsequent request is cached via Fastly. So it would be, we're seeing with all our customers a much a worth it improvement to take that first time slight hit to have much faster, more performant images after that.
Yeah, that's correct. On that first initial encoding, we'll be just a tiny bit slower. Well, I don't want to quantify. We'll be a little bit slower than other encoders, but as our whole render stack is set up, we have caching at many layers or multiple layers, and that caching allows for all subsequent calls to be really fast.
Maybe I think it'd be worth me just to like put an image here and kind of click through it, and we can just see the numbers roll, right? Like, sure. Yeah. So here's a CodePen I have, and it's gonna, we'll put a link to the CodePen, and there's actually a blog post announcement for AVIF, so you can see it. But it's just the general idea of seeing the quality of the images next to each other, seeing the weight differences, and that was pretty just basic and key to understanding that AVIF is great. I mean, we mentioned the savings over WebP, but I mean, look at JPEG. That's crazy, right? Yeah. So if I've taken the same image over here. So I'm going to request a weird size, 512. I've never requested 512. So it's going to be, it'll be like the first time processed speed. And I'm going to request it as AVIF. Like we kept saying, you can do auto equals format, but I mean, if you want to isolate it, you can do FM, AVIF, FM, WebP, whatever, right? So let me preserve our log, and here we go. So we can see it was 18.3 kilobytes is the weight, and 174 milliseconds. And if I click it again, it should be a lot faster, right? Because now it's cached, right? Now, if I switch this format to WebP, I think we're going to see a faster time than this and a heavier image right here. So let's test. Oh my goodness, it was even the same. That's crazy. But it is heavier, right? I think we normally see that it's heavier. This is comical, right? That we're seeing it be the same. 34 here. Let's try one more number and just test it one more time to see if we can see that it generally is longer. I'm going to go 513 now. Okay, AVIF 216, WebP 180. That's probably more realistic, right? The WebP, the first time request, a little faster, a little slower, but every subsequent request is going to be much lighter, right? And ultimately faster as well. So, we're not talking outrageous numbers, but they're numbers. And as the image gets larger, you're going to see it more pronounced. But I think it's worth just pointing out that it exists. I think it's in no way a worry. I mean, again, once it's processed, it's, cached in our servers, cached in the Fastly Shield, cached in the POP, wherever you're located. And then when someone else requests it, even if they're not in the same area on the other side of the world, it's still going to go to the Shield. It's not going to go back and reprocess everything again. So you're looking at a small amount of requests being the first request, and it kind of depends on what your website is. Are you a website that's going to see 3 requests to your image or thousands, right? obviously the one that's seeing a lot of requests, this is going to be just an unbelievable improvement that I think you want to do. If you'd like to enable AVIF for your account today, you can. It's available on an opt-in basis. So all you need to do is email support@imgix.com or reach out to your account manager if you have one as well. If you're unfamiliar with Imgix, I would suggest going to imgix.com and signing up for a free account. These accounts are free forever. They're not timed with some kind of a trial or anything, so no reason not to sign up. You can also find more videos like this at youtube.com/Imgix, read more in our documentation, or follow us at twitter.com/Imgix. You can also reach out to me directly at Let's Go Headless. Thank you so much for joining me, Alfonso, and I hope all of you enable AVIF today. Bye-bye.